At first glance, the story of Days Gone might seem like a tired trope. Yet another tale of random survivors in a zombie apocalypse. We've seen and heard these stories dozens of times. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll discover that beneath the surface lies a surprisingly nuanced exploration. The narrative delves into intriguing themes like loss, survival, loyalty, and redemption, offering more than a typical post-apocalyptic plot. I particularly enjoyed that, unlike many similar stories, Days Gone doesn't center on a world-saving hero or someone directly connected to the outbreak. Instead, it focuses on Deacon St. John, an ordinary man grappling with a new and dangerous world. The narrative focuses on the aftermath, the trauma, the loss, the struggle to survive, and how different people cope with these challenges. With Deacon at the forefront, searching for his place in this harsh reality. The story starts at the outbreak's very beginning. We witness Deacon, his wife Sarah, and his best friend Boozer trying to flee to safety on the first day of the chaos. Both Sarah and Boozer are wounded. A chopper arrives to evacuate people to a refugee camp, but there's only room for two. Faced with leaving someone behind, Deacon makes a heart-wrenching choice. He decides to save his wife and stay with Boozer, hoping to increase their chances of survival and follow the chopper to safety from the ground.
Shit. What did you do?
2 years after a global pandemic ravaged the world, we find Deacon and Boozer as hardened drifters in the Pacific Northwest. They travel the land, taking on odd jobs for supplies. Recently, they've heard of better opportunities in the north, so they plan to leave Oregon and head that way, hoping for a better life.
So tomorrow, get the drugs, take him to Tucker, collect all Leon's bounty. Then I say we head north.
Before they can leave, their plans are derailed when Boozer is brutally injured by a pair of psychos. This incident forces them to delay their journey while Boozer heals. During this time, we learn what happened to Deacon's wife, Sarah. The refugee camp she was taken to was overrun by the infected within hours. Although everything points to Sarah being gone, Deacon holds onto a sliver of hope as her body was never found. His hope is further fueled when he starts seeing neuro-research choppers still flying around. That's it. That's all we get. What's the virus? How do these zombies function? Even how do you become a zombie? All these questions are a mystery, and most of them will remain unanswered throughout the entire game.
There's a reason they never completed any of this expansion work.
The first major storyline focuses on Boozer. As time goes on, his injury worsens, making it clear that Deacon can't handle it alone. He needs proper medicine, ideally a doctor, things that are nearly impossible to find in the middle of the apocalypse. This storyline is intriguing because it highlights an aspect that games rarely explore at this level: true male friendship. Deacon and Boozer are hardened bikers and overall tough guys, the kind who wouldn't be caught dead opening up emotionally. But beneath that gruff exterior, there's a genuine care for each other. Boozer's injury sets off a chain of events. Deacon's loyalty and determination are put to the test as he tries everything to help his friend. The bond is evident as they repeatedly show they would literally die for one another.
Okay. So this is it? This is how we're
Go
going
on,
out?
get out of here, brother.
No, I don't think so.
But despite this deep bond, they still struggle to open up to each other, constrained by the pressures of toxic masculinity. Regardless of the lack of dramatic speeches, actions speak louder than words, making their interactions some of the game's most touching moments.
Give him hell, brother.
Yeah, here goes.
Chuck would be proud.
Boozer's personal arc is equally compelling, as it explores themes of severe injury, disability, and the accompanying mental struggles. Due to his injury, Boozer feels useless and believes there is no place for him in the world anymore, especially since he can't even ride a bike, an essential part of his whole identity.
That's the one thing I miss. Riding on the open road.
He grapples with severe depression and struggles to find the reason to keep going. But over time, with the support of Deacon and other survivors, Boozer learns to accept his new self. This journey from despair to finding a new purpose adds a powerful and emotional layer to the overall narrative. The second main plotline revolves around Sarah and the theme of accepting the loss of a loved one. Despite all evidence pointing to Sarah's death, Deacon just can't accept it. He can't believe that the one dearest to him is gone until he is 100% sure. He comes time and time again to her grave, talking to her if she is still there.
Should have been there when your camp was overrun. I should have been there for that too. So,
He reminisces about how they met, their dates, and his proposal. He even returns to the church where they got married, setting it on fire, hoping to finally let her go. Yet nothing works. He still feels her presence.
you rest easy, okay? I'll be back to check on you. And I know, yeah, you wouldn't want me to, but I guess Boozer's right. I can't help myself. It's like I said, I'll be back.
He also grapples with the agonizing uncertainty. Even if Sarah is alive, the past 2 hellish years could have irrevocably changed her. She may not be the same person he once loved, as he has certainly changed himself.
Mike, that's what I've been living with. And now you're chasing ghosts. You think finding your old lady, if she's alive, you think that's gonna fix it? Make you whole?
I don't know, but I gotta try.
This deeply personal story explores the complexities of the desperate search for closure. It delves into the profound grief of losing a loved one, exposing Deacon's vulnerability and the immense impact their relationship had on his life, making his struggle all the more relatable.
I love you.
Another major storyline that unfolds throughout the game is what I would call other survivors. I've grouped them together because they collectively explore the moral dilemmas of a post-apocalyptic world. What should you do about strangers? Do you help them even if it means putting yourself in danger? Or do you prioritize only yourself and your close ones? How do you decide which people are worth helping and which are not? These questions are tough, and Deacon is clearly conflicted with them. Initially, he is an extreme isolationist and only cares about Boozer and himself. He's not a villain, he doesn't rob or harm civilians, but he views other humans as tools for survival. He helps nearby camps because it pays, not because he wants to assist them. If there's no benefit to him, he likely won't do it. Self-preservation above all else. Nevertheless, you delve deeper into the camp's local politics, the past of these people, their hopes for the future, and their plans to backstab one another. Through this, Deacon's isolationist facade gradually cracks, revealing a growing empathy for those around him, even though he really tries to bury those feelings. In fact, he is so afraid of appearing vulnerable that he often avoids human interactions altogether, embodying the strong, silent man stereotype. As the story progresses, Deacon's character development shines through his interactions with other survivors. He gradually becomes more empathetic and willing to help others, even when there's no immediate benefit to him. We see Deacon's humane side most clearly in the storyline about Lisa. Lisa is a young girl around 17 years old whom Deacon finds surviving alone in the abandoned town. Her character represents the innocents lost in the apocalypse, and her arc is one of the most heartbreaking in the game. Traumatized by the last 2 years, Lisa is stressed and scared. In his own awkward way, he tries to support her.
It's alright, it's okay, it's okay.
He delivers her to a nearby survivor camp, hoping she might find a place for herself there. When he learns that Lisa is miserable in the camp, he tries to cheer her up with a gift.
It's not safe.
I gotta turn in. They make us get up really early for work.
When she gets kidnapped, he hurries to save her, later taking her to another camp in hopes she will be happier there. Lisa is a stranger to him, yet Deacon genuinely wants to help her to have a life in this world, even if he doesn't know how to make that happen. He struggles to understand her feelings and how to truly help her, but his efforts, however awkward, are heartfelt.
So come on. Fine, don't come with me, but you can't stay here. You have to run because they will kill you. Do you understand me? Go!
This relationship is a beautiful touch to the story, showing that not all interactions need to be perfect or lead to a happy ending. Deacon's failure to build a strong bond with Lisa and help her live peacefully adds depth to the narrative, highlighting the complexity of human connections. Deacon's journey towards a more empathetic outlook continues when he comes to the Lost Lake camp, seeking help for the Boozer's injury. At first, he maintains the facade of a strong, silent man who doesn't need anyone's help. He makes it clear that he is there only for Boozer and that they'll leave as soon as he recovers.
Oh, now, wait a minute. I just need a few days and some antibiotics.
He claims that he assists the camp solely because they are helping Boozer in return. But this is clearly a lie. Deacon seems to enjoy being around people, helping them and seeing their gratitude. He doesn't do it just as a courtesy for them helping Boozer. He genuinely likes it. Deacon is such a sweetheart. Or is he? No, not at all. Although I've just talked about how much Deacon likes to help people and how there's a good person somewhere inside him, at the same time, somewhere, maybe not even as deep as that, there is a ruthless monster. Deacon is not a hero who saves everyone for a noble cause. Not even close.
I'm all the way down there. What do you suppose that feels like? Huh? Torn apart? Keep alive?
Guess he's gonna find out. Fuck you.
Goodbye, Leon.
Deacon is a human, and like any human, he is flawed. Probably more so than the average person, even by the zombie apocalypse standards. He kills, and he kills a lot. Not just zombies, but people too. And it's not always a matter of necessity. He clearly enjoys it, taking satisfaction in cleaning the world from trash.
I gotta clear the camp. Bunch of murderers and thieves, and I can't let any of them escape. Goddamn rippers. I am going to kill all of you.
When Deacon is in a pinch, he doesn't hesitate to exploit others for his own gain. When he needs medicine, his first instinct isn't to ask for help, but to sneak into a peaceful camp and steal it from them, leaving ill people to die. And it's not like the zombie apocalypse made him this way. From what we can see, he was already like this, at least partly. Boozer is very similar. He doesn't seem like a much better person than Deacon.
Fucking low-life piece of shit scumbag who got what was coming to him. Alright. Now you fucking go up there and kill that son of a bitch.
After all, they were part of a biker gang, and gangs aren't usually composed of law-abiding, good-natured people. This is mostly evident in the fact that one of the main villains of the game was largely created by Deacon's and Boozer's actions. Jesse was part of their biker gang, where he was pushed around and bullied. After he killed one of his fellow bikers, the gang decided to kick him out. Seems logical. But to do this, they forcibly held him down and used a blowtorch to burn off his tattoos. Deacon and Boozer were the ones who did that. This traumatic experience deeply affected Jesse. After the outbreak, he formed a cult that worships zombies and tries to be just like them. He managed to gain a massive following of what seems to be hundreds of people. Jesse seeks revenge and uses his cult to hunt down both of our heroes and everyone close to them. Is he a villain? Of course. Is this a messed up situation? Absolutely. But it's hard to deny that the creation of the fanatical cult led by Jesse is a direct consequence of Deacon and Boozer's past actions. They created this monster by being monsters themselves.
Tuck's gonna need something for the bounty.
After Jesse makes his first moves by injuring both Deacon and Boozer, what do? They steal valuable dynamite from their allies, sneak into the enemy territory and blow up at them, creating a flood that likely kills dozens, if not hundreds of people, some of whom were surely innocent. All this cements the fact that Deacon is not a hero. He is a vengeful man, willing to kill hundreds to reach his goals. He risks not only his own life, but the lives of his friends and everyone in the camp by practically declaring all-out war on the cult. He doesn't consider the consequences of his actions or how they will affect others. He is solely focused on his own goal, revenge.
When Carlos finds out about this, there's gonna be the devil to pay. Carlos can go fuck himself! You are writing checks with other men's blood! I hope you're good with that.
Deacon St. John is the heart and soul of Days Gone, and is a multi-layered, complex character defined by contradictions. His capacity for both compassion and brutality makes him profoundly human. On the one hand, we see him grow, helping people, worrying about those close to him, and being ready to sacrifice himself for Boozer. On the other hand, he is a vengeful monster who values his goals above human lives, willing to kill hundreds to achieve his twisted objectives.
You may not like it, but the world is what it is. Yeah, it is. Praying ain't gonna change that. Wishing that it was something else ain't gonna make it that way, Mike.
Do you see what I meant? This seemingly simple game with a generic premise and straightforward characters is actually much more than that. It offers a rich narrative experience, full of details that add up to a sophisticated story with complex, three-dimensional characters interconnected with one another. Following these characters and learning more about them and their world is truly gripping. I'm not saying it's an award-worthy storyline that topples all others, not even close. But it is a lot better than I expected from this game, and from the zombie apocalypse genre overall. It shows that even in a world filled with zombies, the most dangerous and fascinating creatures are still the humans themselves. Thank you for watching. This was the final slice in my Days Gone video series. Next week I'll be releasing the full retrospective, which will be over an hour long. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And don't forget to leave a like on this video. Have a good one and hope to see you next time.